Hi, everybody. I'm Molly Fletcher. One of the things that we talk about a lot today, that we hear a lot about, is the word story. And the story that we tell ourselves, the narrative, the self-talk. And I was really first introduced to story from my friend Jim Loehr, who's a world-renowned sports psychologist. And Jim talks about, our old story and our new story. He talks about trying to shift a story that we're telling ourselves that isn't serving us to a new story that is. And often this is really anchored, I think, in the word but, right? I mean, we say to ourselves, I'll work out more but, or I would eat better but, or I would change jobs but, or I would travel more but. And what if we shifted the but to a what if? What if we shifted the negative, the but, to a what if? What's possible? What if we changed, right, the old story to a new story? What if we shifted these limiting beliefs? I remember once I was traveling and I had a really busy week. I had 4 or 5 keynotes in a week all over the country. And I remember calling my mom, which was unique, right? I try to keep it to 2 or 3 a week. And I remember calling my mom and as I was talking to my mom, who's amazing, she said to me, Molly, gosh, so you're not going to be home until Friday. And I remember when I hung up the phone, I started reflecting on that, and I thought, wow, gosh, I mean, I'm not being a good mom this week. I'm not being a great wife this week. I am not around enough. And this whole mommy guilt sort of story started threading through my head. But this was a unique week, and it was a week that wasn't normal. And so I started to just load this negative narrative up in my head, and I had to be intentional about shifting it so that I could show up and deliver certainly that week. And we all find ourselves in those moments where we get this story, this narrative, going in our head, and the need to shift that to a more positive story that's serving us, and in turn, right, the people around us, because of the way we show up even better, is so important. And there's 4 ways we can shift this. And so I want to walk you through these 4 in hopes that if there's an old story in your life that you're telling yourself and you want to make a shift, try these 4 things. Number 1, set a target, right? Say to yourself, I want to be more engaged with what? Set a target. I want to be more engaged with what? Number 2, set an intention, right? So say to yourself, this is important to me because. This is important to me because, fill in the blank. Number 3, recognize that you're making a choice. Making a choice that if I continue down this path that I'm on, this old story, then what is that reality? Because when you're making this shift, you're making a choice. And 4th, recognize that you're going to tell yourself a new story. Start your new story and say to yourself, from now on, I will. From now on, I will. Tell yourself that new story. Try these 4 things. If you have limiting beliefs, a negative narrative, an old story that you want to shift to a new story that you can show up, not just better so that you can serve the people around you better, but you can show up in the world even better. I hope it helps.